The Integrity Series, Episode 2, Boundaries. Episode 1 covered facing yourself, facing the issues that have been tripping you up, keeping an eye out for blind spots, basically trying to uproot the sort of things that have been bugging you, the stuff that's been tripping you up over the years, the things that have made relationships difficult, the things that have made it hard to respect yourself. Facing yourself is crucial, and it's the first step in a long process, a painful process, but a necessary one. Now that you've done that, you've seen the wounds that hurt you, the ones that have been maybe even paining you for years, maybe since you were a child, the wounds that contribute to you working against your character and your integrity. You've seen those previously blind spots. You're aware of them now. They're not necessarily healed all the way, maybe not even halfway yet. That's a long process. That will take time, and that's okay. But you're conscious of them now, and you're not letting them stumble you without you knowing. It's time now to let this newfound awareness come into practice. It's not going to be perfect practice, but it's going to be practice. As much as it is crucial to know how you want to act, how you want to think, how you want to be, it's also crucial to know how you don't want to be, how you don't want to act or think. It's easier said than done, but if we are conscious of these things, then we're able to move towards them and away from the things we don't want to move towards. So now that you're aware of how you don't want to act, speak, think, etc., you can now consciously act in the way you do want to be, speak, etc. You've noticed the sort of blind spots and the wounds that have hurt you, with your relationship with yourself, but now it's also time to look out for them in your relationships, in your dynamics, in your culture, community, because it's really important to know how they do relate to people, relationships, and different situations. You might be yourself to your friends. You might be yourself to your family. But perhaps in one friend group, you're conscious to not speak about different things. You're conscious that you can't allow that side of yourself to come out. Or potentially it's with your family. Maybe in your family, you've always had to be the good kid, and you've always had to do what's right. So you've kind of lumped it on your shoulders, or it's been lumped on your shoulders. But those are the different dynamics and relationships that do come up, and they're wounds also. I'm not just putting a blanket over all of this and saying it's all wounds, but some of them can be, and some of them are things that we need to heal. Boundaries start coming into play now. Start doing a stock take over your relationships and your boundaries within those relationships, the boundaries that you have in your life. You'll probably see some healthy ones, hopefully, and you'll definitely see some unhealthy ones. The ones where you were forced or felt forced to compromise part of yourself, to compromise your core, you at your core, your values, your beliefs, etc. Stuff that made you you. Uprooting some of these withered boundaries can definitely be painful. They're attached to people that you most likely care about in some way or another. Some that might be integral to your life and how you grew up. But by doing so, you give yourself an environment that you can grow from, that you can heal from. Healthy soil in which to stand. It's a necessary step towards full integrity integration. You act as courageously as you can, considering the change you've just made. It's a massive change. You may not 100% know your stance or integrity on certain things, on certain issues, your values, your beliefs on certain things. So we're not expecting to get it right yet, to be fully integrated, to be fully heart-led in that way. But who you are at your core will continue to shine through the debris and the layers that have kind of come up over the years. The stuff that's been lumped on top of them, the stuff that's been putting them in the dark or in the shadow. Some of the things that you may have to uproot is potentially relationships, or even how you view relationships, how you view friendships, how you view family relationships. Maybe due to these changes and due to these issues, that's how you view a relationship now. That's how you view a romantic relationship. This is what I deserve. This is what is required of me. I better do this otherwise. Or in friendships, maybe the given is that you're the one who's meant to come 80% of the distance and only 20 in return. Is that what relationships are for you now? Is that a relationship you want to be in? Is that a friendship you want to be in? This all means that it'll be tough lessons as you learn to see it for what it is. Perhaps you can see how you've been used in friendships before, not having been prioritized or really seen, that you're there, but you're not really a part of it. Or perhaps in a relationship where you were never really an equal party, never really an equal priority. Instead, you're taken for granted. But instead of bringing it up at the time, you coast. You coast and justify it by saying, but it's not that bad. But they say they love me. Now hear me when I say this, please. You don't have to go up and break up with your partner or break up a friendship just because they've said some of the things that I'm saying right now, or because you've felt this feeling before. Assess, analyze, and observe. Everyone has had this feeling at some point, but it's when you live there, you live in that environment, that these problems are swamping you or overtaking your heart, your feelings, your mental health. Every couple argues. Every friend disagrees. Everyone has their moments, feelings are hurt. And sometimes you feel unimportant. But when that's your environment that you live in, that you are constantly in those relationships, that's when a massive overhaul needs to take place. Put in place the boundaries that align with you. When something comes up, we need to call it out. We don't have to be rude because that wouldn't go with our integrity, with our character. Some are explicitly said and some aren't. Some are just protecting your peace. I don't really like that term because it's been overused like crazy. And some people use it just to retreat, and sometimes it's not in a healthy way. But sometimes you need to just protect yourself in a way, maybe just until you figure things out for yourself, maybe while you work on yourself, or maybe just this week, maybe consistently from now on. Maybe you need to look after you. Some are just guarding your heart, your feelings, your peace, or your time. For example, if you know someone in your life that's very take in your relationship, in your friendship, and they just want to take up your time, and it's flattering that they want that, but sometimes there is a dependency. Sometimes there's a responsibility that they're putting on you rather than themselves. Sometimes people like this drain you. And if that's what the relationship looks like, is that doable long-term for you? For them, it's fine. That's sweet as. You get to be there all the time. You get to be there and help them and bail them out whenever. But for them, what are they doing? Are they growing? So this won't happen forever. So they won't just be relying on the next person or completely dependent on their partner. They want all your time. But for you, maybe in this situation, you just give them the time that you are comfortable with giving them. Don't give them any more. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. They may be a great person, a really nice person, someone that you do want to remain being friends with, and that's great. I have a friend that I spend a lot of time with. However, I noticed that when I spent a lot of time with them, I started feeling drained. I started feeling low. And I realized that it was a very one-sided friendship, that it was something where they would take a lot, and I don't mind giving. I'm a nice person. I listen to people. I'm literally a counselor. Like, I'm fine with listening. That's all good. However, this was just one-way traffic, and great person, great dude, like him a lot. However, I was conscious of how I felt. So after that, and after I took stock of how I was feeling, I started to scale back a bit. Now, they're a good person and a good friend, and I didn't want to cut off the relationship altogether. You will know when there's a relationship like that, and it's probably been clear to you for some time. But in this situation, I knew I didn't want to stop this friendship altogether. So I started doing things a little bit differently. I figured out that I could give them an hour, or I could give them around 90 minutes every 3-4 weeks. And that was great. It was awesome to catch up, got along well, everything was sweet. It was nice. However, when I went over that, when it was an ongoing thing, it was an afternoon or something like that, it wasn't really something where I could be my best and I could feel my best, and that it wouldn't impact what else was going on in my life or my other relationships. When it was any more frequent than that, I found it quite tiring emotionally. However, once that boundary was in place, it worked really well, and we both had a nice time spending time together. Nothing overloading him or me. That's an example of a relationship sort of boundary. What's your boundary at work? What's that like? Do you just drop everything when your boss says to work overtime unpaid? When the boss says, oh, no one else can do it but you have to do this, you'd be doing me such a huge favor. And that's a dynamic that's ongoing. That's not much of a boundary. Do you compromise your values to work where you are, to do what you're doing? If so, is it the right job for you? Is it the right department for you? Some people feel or believe that when they are asked to work more or to work in a certain way that they have to do it. It's almost like you think that they're going to fire you for not going the extra mile that they've just chucked on your lap. I understand there's extenuating circumstances, but again, are you living in that spot? Is this a dynamic that is constant? Is this something where they're putting their responsibility on you and therefore you're carrying the weight of two people? This is also a boundary. Does your work take you away from your family at a moment's notice? Do you allow it to do that? If that doesn't feel right, then maybe it's not. Maybe it's something where you say, sorry guys, I'm away with my family at the moment. I really can't help. I really hope you find someone. Yes, there will be extenuating circumstances. Potentially you're in a startup and you're having to crunch the numbers. You've got a crazy deadline or massive opportunity, but not every week does that happen. Not every day does that happen. Not every time is it just you compromising your importance, your important things in order to do the right thing for the team. It can't always be you. Start making your integrity visible in your life, visible in your relationships, in your interactions, in your speech, in your nature. Make it visible in every part of your life. When you anchor yourself in that way, your integrity, your character, who you are, will spill out naturally into every part of your life. And that's a great thing. That's what we want. But sometimes you will have to help it along, especially if it's not your norm yet, especially if it's in a dynamic that you're not used to showing you yet. If that's not something that you're constantly doing, how would you be good at it? You might have to start the engine a little bit. You might have to really correct yourself. You might have to move in a way that does that. And that's okay. That's normal. Start anchoring yourself to what your values are, to who you know yourself to be or who you want to be. The point of this is not to become a one-dimensional person that can only speak about one thing or is, very one-dimensional. Because we're all complex, lots of shades of gray. We like things, we hate things, we enjoy things, we don't, we lose interest, we gain interest. It's not about that one thing defining you. It's about having this as your anchor. Having this as your anchor as you move through where you want to go in life, or as you navigate seas that you may not want to be, but you're in. You won't have it all together because we have not incorporated everything yet. You've gone through facing yourself, looking at your blind spots, trying to heal some wounds, and then now identifying the boundaries aspects of your life, the situations that you're in, friendships and relationships, dynamics. You may not know your integrity, your values, and everything that is most dear to you just yet, and who you truly are. That's okay. But there will be whispers of it. There will be parts of it that you can be sure on. You don't have to have it all together yet, but you can start moving now with what you know deep down in your heart to be right. You may not be able to articulate it yet, but the principles are there. You may not know that core belief, that core principle yet, but for example, you might know that kindness towards others is right, is the right thing to do. So do that. Treat others with kindness. You may know that being polite in the way you speak is the right thing to do. Do that. You may not have it down to a core science. That's fine. But these principles, these things that are adjacent or connected to what's further down, deep down, under that debris, under those hurt and wounds that we're figuring out, they're still there. And those core things, those behaviors, those approaches to life will be there. And you will know what's correct and you will know what's incorrect. Speaking out of anger, yelling, screaming, carrying on, diminishing people, you know deep down, you may feel vindicated. However, you also know that the way you went about that is not right. Start moving towards the things you know to be true, the things that you know align with who you are and who you want to be. We may not know the deeper level of meaning yet, but you will know whether that action you're doing is in alignment with you or not. We are all a work in progress. This is not meant to be easy. This is not meant to be fun. There may be elements to it, but this isn't for an easier life. This is for a more fulfilling life. This is not something that is a cakewalk or something that everyone's going to want to do. Most people will be too afraid or find it too daunting to actually do this work. Some of the most important work of your life, working on yourself, because that dictates your world. That dictates how you interact with others, how you see life, how you see yourself. Most people will not want to do this because it kind of sucks. It kind of hurts. I think it's empowering, but it doesn't mean I like all of it. I like that you can grow. I like that I can grow. However, what it takes to get there is tough, but it's necessary if we want to live a more fulfilling life, if we want to be anchored in truth and good, if we don't want to leave a trail of hurt behind us, or even a part of us behind us. It's necessary work, but if this is something you want to do, it's not going to be easy, but that's normal and that's okay. But it will lead you to who you truly are, and that's the best thing we could hope for. That was episode 2. I hope you're all well. Check out my links. If you want support, if you want to work with me, check out my website. Have a look at the other episodes. There's a ton now. I think I'm nearly at 40 episodes now. Have a look there and see if there's something that you like. Check out all the links and see if there's something for you. All the best.